Welcome to another episode of Midwest Media Men, your foremost authority on everything music, movies, comics, books, video games. I am your host Connor, and I have with me as always Cody.
Hey.
And Big Nick.
How's it going?
Also, Gabe.
What's going on, guys?
Alright, did you guys have a good holiday?
Yeah.
It's a great holiday.
Can't see the nods over the microphone.
Yeah. This is not quite a visual medium here, Gabe.
Yeah. I'm learning that quickly.
So today we figure we can go over some of the Star Wars reactions, reviews, kind of break it down a little bit, see how everybody feels about it. I want to say right now though, this is full spoiler warnings for The Last Jedi if you have not seen it. And it's kind of hard to believe because it already has, in 2 weeks, broken $800 million. So pretty much everybody and their grandmother and Nick's father have seen it. So.
Yeah, I mean,
I even saw.
But also let's talk about that drop. So long as we're talking about how much money this movie made. First weekend, already, second highest opening of all time behind Force Awakens.
Yep.
But I don't know, this weekend, not so much. 69% drop. I mean, still number one, but I mean, and it's almost, it's impossible to match that opening. There's a 60% drop, there's a 50% drop, and then there's an almost 70% drop.
Do you think that has to do with any of the Rotten Tomatoes scores in the news and how that kind of... there's a petition right now to get Rotten Tomatoes shut down.
Oh, God. This is what I hate about fandom sometimes, man. Like, the vitriol on both sides... It's just, it's too much. I mean, there were Rotten Tomatoes, subscribers, and I mean, it doesn't take that long for, a bunch of jerks to get together on the internet and decide to have that sort of an impact on something. But that audience rating is just a bunch of pissed off nerds. Not that many people are even, members of Rotten Tomatoes.
Right.
This was a concerted effort to make the audience score look bad for that movie.
I don't even know what's going on. What happened with Rotten
The audience score for Last Jedi on Rotten Tomatoes versus the critics score. The critics score is positive. The audience score is, I don't even know what it is, but it's something ridiculous, 27% or something. And it was a concerted effort by nerds who didn't like the movie to do that. I mean, it's egregious, I think.
I think the biggest thing is expectations weren't met. All these trailers and everything kind of leading us to believe that this is going to be the next Empire. Bad guys win. To a certain extent it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's still, when all is said and done, yeah, it subverted a lot of your expectations from Force Awakens. It does mirror Empire, to a great degree, and I'm only more sure of that after seeing it a second time.
I know, this is the first time I felt like it was made by Disney. The first time a Disney movie, since they've acquired these properties, that they had a strong influence in this with some of the characters, like the Porgs. They literally had nothing to do in this movie. They were just there to sell toys and be cute.
Well, this is something that Gabe actually brought up to me right after we saw the movie. Mm-hmm. I really liked how the animals were used in this movie.
What were they? The Crystal Fox?
Yeah, you got the Crystal Foxes and then the things in the middle. I mean, they broke up. First of all, they broke up the acts.
There were clear definitions or a clear use of animals to show, all right, this is Act 1, this is Act 2, this is Act 3. Well, maybe not in that clean of a reference, but I mean, they were definitely there to represent those story changes.
Yeah. And they were just animals being animals. They never had, too much of an impact on the plot, and it was all about people's and characters like Chewie or Rose's reactions to them. Or, they're like, oh, how did they get out of there? And then, okay, let's follow the foxes. And then we'll find our way out, but they only had a minor thing to do, but it was always just animals being animals. It was just one of my favorite parts with the Porgs actually is when Luke is telling Rey to reach out with her feelings, asks her what she sees. She sees warmth and love and caring, and then she sees the Porg mother with her babies, and then she sees but also violence, and then she sees the Porg nest that's been washed away and the cracked open eggs, that sort of thing. That's that's nature. And they were trying to tie that to the Force. I think it all worked pretty well.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to see one of the Porgs get that lightsaber turned on. when they were wrestling.
Oh yeah.
Just blast straight
Yeah,
through.
yeah, and the other one's looking like right at like where the blade would come out. Yeah.
That would have made me like the porgs, I think, a lot.
I mean, you did get the Chewy like fried two of them up. And,
Oh
like,
yeah, porg on the Barbie.
Yeah, and then there's like the little sad one that clearly knew one or both of those other porgs. Because like he shoos the other ones away, that one stays behind. It's like,
Yeah,
Just looking
that was
yeah.
that was that touch I think of Disneyization maybe that Connor's kind of bringing in. Like, all right, they tried to give these guys emotions that necessarily they wouldn't necessarily have. That being said, I think they did toe that line pretty well. Like, you know what I mean? They made you feel something for those porgs, but at the same time, they were just there being animals. And like Nick was saying, like, yeah, foxes were just being foxes. And if anything,
They probably would have eaten porgs.
right. I mean, showing a little bit of actual nature throughout the galaxy is a refreshing turn than just droids and sand.
Well, we know Disney can do the circle of life, like with Lion King. So just maybe they need to add some of that into this Star Wars universe.
Yeah, man.
How did you guys feel about finally seeing Luke Skywalker return and actually doing some things in this one? First off, we have Rey arriving there with Chewbacca and R2-D2 and the Millennium Falcon trying to recruit him. And you finally get an answer to what happens at the end of Force Awakens when she hands over the lightsaber. How'd you guys feel about that reveal? And
You know, if he just pitched it right away, I don't think it would have resonated. But because he holds it and looks at it for like a good while before
Yeah.
deciding to chuck it, I really liked it. I really liked it.
see, and that part really to me was like, okay, this is Pirates of the Caribbean. It's like Captain Jack Sparrow seeing something and then just tossing it over his shoulder because it's not rum. Or
If you look for the Disneyfication in everything, you're gonna find it. Like if you're looking for that, yeah, sure, you can find it in anything.
was Force Awakens owned by Disney when they made that one?
Yeah.
Okay. See, I didn't get it as much in that one as I did in this one. It's like clearly this was aimed more towards like
Disney
kids,
owned.
it
I mean,
seemed like.
Disney owned Rogue One too.
Yeah. See, and that's probably my favorite so far out of the 3 new ones that have come out.
It's my least favorite. I think it's flavorless.
Well, I mean, everybody can have their own opinion, Nick.
It's true. It's true.
How about you, Gabe? What's
As
your
we're
opinion?
learning. Actually, I kind of agreed with Connor on that one. That like, well, I guess and Nick too. Like, if you're gonna look for the Disneyization, it's gonna be there. But I think this one was more like, they kind of seen how Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 did, and how the new Thor did, and like comedy in these giant what were supposed to be dramas.
But wait a second.
Really paying off.
All of these movies were in production at the exact same time. There was no telling how they were going to play once they
That's
were
true.
released.
That's true. But I think it shows that influence throughout their whole company or the company as a whole.
So would you say it's a larger movement then? Just a lot of people are doing the same thing? Kind of independent of one another?
Independent and also dependent. 'Cause they all work
Yeah,
in the same
yeah, and
franchise.
I think it's a modern sense of humor infiltrating. Like we can't have the same jokes that we got in the 1970s because we don't joke the same way.
That's true.
So I just
That's
think it's
true.
like I think it's a modern writing style. Like Disney fired Lord and Miller from the Han Solo movie because it was too funny, supposedly.
Yeah. Yeah, then with what you said about bringing up the 70s, I had a real issue with Poe in his voicemail or putting somebody on hold part there right in the beginning when they're doing their space attack on the bombers.
That felt like an episode of Dukes of Hazzard in space to me, but and not in a bad way. Like
I actually love that.
Yeah,
I really
yeah,
love that.
Yeah, this was probably my favorite space battle, second to the Rogue One at the end. At the end of Rogue One, the space battle when they're trying to bomb or get in through the force field there.
Yeah.
But then when you're on at the end with Poe Dameron, he says, "Oh, we gotta shut that big ass door." When do they ever speak like that in Star Wars?
there are a few weird things like that. Yeah, a few weird anachronisms, like big ass door, or Finn says cops instead of guards at one point.
Yes.
Yeah, there are little things like that I noticed, but it never got to me too much.
I definitely noticed it. It wouldn't say it pulled me out, but it was more like, did he just say that? Like when, because the closest thing you get like to anything like that in the OG series is the improv scene with Han Solo when he was talking to the guards about
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
says, "Oh, everything's fine here.
Yeah.
How are you?"
Hurry, go
You know,
by your
that-
day. Go.
That kind of
Yeah.
fit just because he's a scoundrel type thing, but these guys have all been working for the Resistance. They're all
I mean,
trained.
he's the Han Solo of this new series, though.
the poorly done Han Solo.
I think Oscar Isaac is a better actor than Harrison Ford. Right here, I'll say that right here and right now.
Blasphemy.
Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford in every movie, and half the time he's sleepwalking through his roles. Oscar Isaac is a chameleon. He's one of the best actors alive today or ever.
Yeah, he is Apocalypse.
He sucked at Apocalypse. I'll give you that one.